Good afternoon, everybody. How you doing? Today we're going to go into, this is your coach Renz, and today we're going to go into the richest man in Babylon. Now, usually I would try to shoot this as a regular video and then upload it, but the 8 minutes that I'm allowed to upload a Facebook video is just not enough time. I've tried to do it like 6 times already today, and I can't even get through, half of it without going over time. So we're going to do this as a live video. Hopefully, I'm at work right now. Customers won't walk in for the next 15 minutes so that I can get through this live session of this video. But the richest man in Babylon is a story that I implore everybody to go read these books, these scrolls that were found. And the thing about it, if you listen to, 4 months ago, I did a video called The Men Who Desire Gold. And this story of Arkad picks up right after this, right after the Men Who Desire Gold. Now, before that, the other day I did one called The Camel Herder, and that was the story of Dabazir, of how to get out of debt. It's part of the collection, but the Dabazir story is at the bottom, and I wanted to tell you that one previously. So go back and listen to that one and share it as well as share this video. And if you're looking at it on YouTube, then subscribe. Here's the thing about it. The richest man in Babylon, like I said, it picks up right after the Men Who Desire Gold. So here you have Arkad, the richest man in Babylon. He's there, and some of his old school friends, these men who desire gold, who were trying to figure out why is it that they live their life and they toil at their jobs, they toil at their business, but they're just not able to make ends meet, and they're not able to create wealth. So what they do is they go to Arkad to find out exactly what is it that allow him to become the richest man in Babylon. Because the first thing they say to him is that, look, dude, and I'm paraphrasing this whole thing, look, you didn't go to any special schools. You went to the same school that we went to. You had the same teacher that we had. Everything that you are doing now is the same thing that, everything that you learned, we learned. So why is it that you became the richest man and we did not, and we're still struggling? Well, how has luck, they call it fickle fate, but how has luck picked you out of everybody else and made you greater than us? And the first thing he explains to them, that luck actually has nothing to do with it, and that if anything, luck often diminishes, luck often destroys, luck often puts you in a situation that's worse than what you were in before. Because he brings up to the point, and I'm gonna bring it into our time. Oftentimes somebody who wins the lottery, because they have and you go back to the story of the camel trader, because they have the mind of a debt slave, they find themselves back in debt. They find themselves in a worse situation than they were in before. So luck is not always great. Finding a big pot of money or coming into a large sum of money is not always a wonderful thing. He also talked about the fact that when people inherit money, oftentimes the ones who inherit money, because they don't have the ability or the knowledge to know how to earn, they often lose the money. They diminish. And if you look at history, usually by the 4th generation of a family that became wealthy, most of the time they have lost over half the wealth that was originally generated by the 4th generation, because they have just learned to spend. They never learned how to earn. So luck is not always that thing that you need. Luck is something that you should actually stay away from, and you should have to earn and learn the knowledge that is necessary. And that's what Arkad realized. He had a moment. He had a moment where he looked about himself and he saw the world and saw all the riches and wealth of the world, and thought that he should be just as deserving as anybody else to receive this wealth. So he recognized that wealth is a power. Now, understand, wealth, money, is not the root of all evil. The love of it can be. And I say can be for a reason, because if you desire or love wealth, but for the usage of it, you want to build communities. For the love of the wealth, you want to assist the poor. For the love of the wealth, you want to take your family on marvelous vacations. You want to build a home for them. If for the love of wealth, you want to do good things with it, things that fall into your morality, then it is not an evil thing. But when the love of it causes you to step on somebody else's neck, when the love of it causes you to oppress people, then yes, now that love is an evil thing. So, because I've never understood how love of anything could be bad unless the results of the love causes pain. But if the results of the love of money causes greatness, then it is not an evil thing. Now, so Arkad recognized that, so he knew that he had to find out, because what he was currently doing, what he had currently been taught, was just not working. Didn't matter how hard he worked, he just didn't have enough money. It didn't matter how much he did, how much extra he did. It seems like his money would go away from him, and he couldn't even remember where some of the money went. And trust me, I've been there. There have been times where I've just sat back and like, okay, hold on, wait a minute. I remember when I made, $2,000 a month. Now I'm making $7,000 a month or $8,000 a month, but my bank account is just as low as it was when I made $2,000. What's going on? So you have to go back and you look. You have to look at the evidence. The evidence is right there. You are spending more money. Every time you make more money, you have a tendency to spend more money, and some portions of it you have no idea where it's going. So Arkad had to go back and look at himself to see, where is my money going? But it's not a numbers issue. Like I said in the story with Dabasir, it's not a numbers issue, it's the mind issue. So he had to go back. And then in going back, he said, okay, I understand now, I'm going back. Now I need to learn how to make money. So this guy, Arkad, comes into his workplace. Arkad was a scribe. He wrote on the tablets. He wrote the laws of the tablets. And Arkad came into his office, and with Arkad, he said, he asked Arkad, how did you become rich? Like, what is it that you did that made you wealthy? Right? And Arkad was like, okay, I'll tell you what, you finish this task for me, right? And then I will come back and I will let you know exactly how I became wealthy. What's the secret to becoming rich? So, Arkad worked all night long he worked, right? So that's another lesson in life. Sometimes when you make a deal with somebody of wisdom, you might have to do something for them in order for them to give you that information, that wisdom. So don't look for everything to be free. All right. Too often we look for the free. We expect people to just come and tell us stuff for free, just do us stuff for free. Just because they're wealthy, we expect them to do things. No, wealthy people understand that what they have, their information has value to it. So you're going to have to give something to get it. So Arkad came back the next day, and what he told him is something that you've heard before. Because I will tell you this, every information, every book, everything I've ever read, from Napoleon Hill, Dave Ramsey, Tony Robbins, Andrew Carnegie, everything I've ever read, I find that their information goes back to this information. That the clay tablets that was found in Samaria, the over 2 million tablets, that it goes back to the Sumerian tablets. So what was said? He told him that 1/10 of all you earn is yours to keep. 1/10 of all you earn is yours to keep. This has nothing to do with anything else that you put money out for. The other 1/10 that you give to charity or church, the other whatever you give, other percentages you do for other things, that's fine. But this 1/10 is for you to save for yourself. So before you pay your bills, you pay yourself first. You've heard that before. Pay yourself first. So 1/10 of all you earn is yours to keep. Now, that 1/10 is only supposed to go out to make money for you. That's just another secret. That 1/10 is supposed to go out and make money for you. If you're saving that 1/10, but it's not going out to make money for you, then it's just savings. You will forever be in debt. You will forever be poor. So that 1/10 goes out to make money for you. Now, Arkad had told him this, and then Arkad went away for a year, right? And then he came back, and when he came back, he asked me, he said, okay, you've been saving your money? He said, yeah. So Arkad's like, yes, I've been saving my money. Well, what have you done with your money? Then Arkad told him that he gave his money to Azur, the brick maker, to go to Phoenicia to buy jewels, and they will bring those jewels back and then sell them for a profit. Now, there's two things important right there. One, the money that you are saving to build your wealth should go into endeavors that's going to bring you back immediate returns, that's going to bring you back income-based investments. This is why I've been telling you guys for years now, I only deal with income-based investments. I have no time for dividend-based investments that's over a long period of time. And when you study any person who has become wealthy, they first initially built their wealth, they became wealthy on income-based investments. It's called having a river of gold. All right. So he did that, gave it to the brickmaker. But there's lesson number 2. Why did he entrust the brickmaker, and Arkad scorned him for this, trust the brickmaker for the purchase of jewels? If you're dealing with somebody and they are, and let's say they were a restaurateur, but now they want to go to another country. Like I know a guy, he went to Africa and he bought a gold mine, and he found gold and diamond, and he worked it for like 5-7 years. But why would you trust a restaurateur to go find gold, right? If you want to get involved, if you get involved with an income-based investment, then get involved with somebody who's doing something at least within the realm of what they already have been successful in. Don't come to me to talk to me about stocks and bonds. I'm not a stock guy. I don't like stocks. I don't deal with stocks. I don't think they're worth my time right now, because I don't have hundreds of thousands of dollars to put into stocks to play it correctly to make money. So that's not an interest of mine. It's not something I've studied. But when I do get to that point, I know exactly the people that I'm going to go to for advice. I'm not going to go to somebody who's not successful at it, who doesn't know what they're doing. So when you invest your money, don't be like Arkad did the first time. He invested with a brickmaker to buy jewels. If he invested with the brickmaker, it should have been about bricks. So he lost his money, every dime. So he had to start over. So after a year, he had got used to living saving that 10%. So it became normal for him. So after a year, Algamesh came back to him and he said, "Hey, it's been another year. What you been doing?" He said, "Well, I saved my money." And then he asked him, "Do you still take the advice of brickmakers?" He said, "About buying bricks, I do." But he had learned to entrust his money into people who knew what they were doing. So in the story, he talks about how he gives his to this other guy, the shield maker. He gives his money to him. That guy goes out, buys bronze for making shields, and then every 4th month he pays him back the rental, or in our case, interest or dividends. He pays him back an income every 4th month for him giving money. Now, here's the next lesson in that, is that he gives him that money, but then he asks him, "So what did you do with the money?" He said, "Oh, every 4th month when I get this money, I go out and I have like this lavish dinner, and I go buy me some new clothes, and soon I'm gonna buy me well, he said a donkey, but in our time, what we do is that once we invest in a business, right? We invest in something that's gonna bring us income, or even in your job, you get that promotion. The first thing we do is we spend it. We spend the money. It's like Algamesh told Arkad, you eat the children of your gold. You can't eat the children of your money. I did this for years. Every time I got promoted, I increased my standard of living. Every time I made money in a business, I increased my standard of living. I kept doing it so soon. As soon as I got a nickel, I went out to go say, "Wow, I got a little profit. I'm going to go have some fun. I'm going to go live." I went and lived downtown way too soon when I opened up this business. All right, I should have stayed where I was at and let my money and let my business build. That's what the lesson that Algamesh was trying to teach Arkad at this point of the story, is that you can't eat the children yet. You got to let your money replicate and replicate. In my terms, it's if I send my Marines, my money is my Marines. If I send my Marines out to conquer and they bring back the POWs, I need to retrain those POWs and send them back out to conquer more. So when you make money, when you get involved in a business and that business is making money, then as it makes money, you can't spend it. You can't eat the children of your profit. You can't demand profits from your business as soon as you start. You got to let the profits grow. And too often we don't want to let the profits grow. We don't have patience to say that, okay, I opened up one store. Before I start living off my profits, let me open up a second store. Before I start living off too much of the profits of the first and second store, let me open a third store. So continue to build until you have an army of money, an army of profit that's coming in so much that it allows you to continue to grow your business, and then you can live a little bit. And as your business continues to grow, if you know who did this? I used to work for CVS. Right? When I first got out of the Marine Corps, I got a job at CVS. And one of the things I learned is that while CVS was growing, Walgreens was growing internally. They would let the profits of each store build another store, and each store build another store. So they kept their debt to a minimum, while CVS was increasing their debt. Rite Aid increasing their debt. Eckerd was increasing their debt. And you see that CVS really is the only one that survived, that was going through the let's do everything by debt situation, whereas Walgreens is a stronger company because they increase by profits, by just letting their profits roll onto each other. You see, like I said, this information has been there for a very long time. You've heard it before, but in the story, the richest man in Babylon, it is there, and it's been taught for a very long time. So, anyhow, and now this is the amazing thing that happened at this point, and this is one of the reasons why I love the story. Don't think that what you're doing it just for yourself. You see, while he was doing this, Alchemist was watching him. He was watching him, and then he went away, and he came back 2 years later, and he was watching him. And then once he saw that, yes, this man has came from, and they say it in the story, he has came from the darkness to the light of understanding how to build wealth. Alchemist then entrusted him to go to Nippur and take over his land holdings and made him an equal partner. You see, once you learn how to manage wealth, and you may have, if you read the Bible, the Torah, the Quran, you've heard this before, that if you're wise, if you do well with the small things, then you're entrusted with the larger things. When Alchemist saw that he was wise with his money and building his wealth, and had learned these valuable lessons of how to save their money, how to live on less than what you make, and then how to increase your wealth by reinvesting what you are making back, he then entrusted him to manage his lands in another city in Nippur. This is when somebody who's been watching you would say, you know how, you've learned these rules, you understand how to truly make money. So now that I see that you have, I'm willing to invest in you, and for you to go out and make even more money, and I'll make you an equal partner. This is one of the ways why the rich keep getting richer, because they when they see somebody who knows how to make money, who's been learning how to make money, they then entrust them to go out and make more money. So you have to first prove it within yourself that you know what you're doing, and then go to the next level. And that's what Alchemist did with with Arkad, by sending him to Nippur. And then once Alchemist passed on, he did receive his portion of the inheritance. But from those lessons, Arkad became the richest man in Babylon, because he kept reinvesting his funds until there was so much money coming in he couldn't spend it. You know, one of the people that I've studied is a man named Jim Rohn. And Jim Rohn has this one speech where he talks about how he was doing a similar situation. He was starting to live off, he lived off 90% of what he made. Then he got down to 70. Then he got down to 50%. He even got down to a point where he had so much money being brought back in from his investments that he was only living off 10%. He couldn't spend more than 10% of what was coming in. The reason why Bill Gates is able to say that he's going to give away 90% of his income is because he has so much income coming in that he can't spend it all. You have to be able to create a river of gold coming into you. Many of you are getting into, you have or have gotten into 401ks, and you know you're going to retire and all that sort of thing, but you're going to find out that that 401k is not going to bring in enough dividends for you to continue to live, especially if you still have a mortgage and things like that. So what you need to look into is income-based investments. That's what Arkad did. He found income-based investment that continued to bring in a river of gold. You need a river of gold coming into your life. So learn the story of Arkad. Now here's the funny part about this story. So he's the richest man in Babylon. He figured out all these ways. He figured out how to make money. He recognized the energy of money and how it flows back to you when you show that you can take care of it, right? So after he's talking with his friends did kind of the Job thing, right? They started finding other reasons why he was able to do it and they could not do it. You know, like in the story of Job, it's like all these things happened to Job. His life has, been broke down. And they're like, well, you must have did this, Job, and you must have did that. There's something different about you. So they started doing a similar thing, right? They was like, oh, well, you were just lucky that Alchemist came into your shop that day. And Arkad responded with something that I thought was brilliant. He said he had a desire to learn, a desire to understand, a desire to grow. And because of that desire, it attracted somebody into his realm that he could then learn from. If you don't have a true desire to grow, a true desire to have something in your life, then it won't be attracted into your life. You won't be able to see the opportunity when it comes into your life because you don't have a true desire for it. It's a wanting in your conscious mind, but if in your subconscious mind and in the heart of your emotions, there is not a true desire to have that in your life, it's not going to come. That's one of the real things about the law of attraction, is that it has to be a true desire. So when Alchemist did come, he made it a point to ask the question. So it wasn't just luck that Alchemist came into his life. Now, the second thing that his friends, now because they got to find a reason why he's special, that he became rich and they're not, so that they can feel comfortable in their misery, is that they said, well, after you lost all your money that first year, you had a great willpower to continue to do it and then to go and do the things that Alchemist was telling you. And he explains to him that willpower had nothing to do with it, but it's more a definiteness of purpose. His example was that if he decides that he's going to walk across a bridge and drop a pebble in the river every day, that it's something that he's going to do every day. He's not going to skip days. He's not going to come up on one day and dump a big load of pebbles in there. He's going to do it every day. This one I like to relate to relationships, because oftentimes I find that in relationships, we make those promises in the beginning. I'm going to love you. I'm going to take care of you. I'm going to have I'm going to date you the entire time with marriage. I'm going to show you every day with quality time and love and affection. And I'm going to do all these kind of things. But then as time goes by, we start not to do it because it wasn't a true definiteness of purpose within us. We like the idea of being with somebody. We like the idea of having that mate. But then once we get in there, we say stupid things like, oh, the fire that we had in the beginning, we're never going to capture that again. Are you crazy? My grandmother used to always tell me that whatever you did to get her, you have to continue to do to keep her, right? So you have to have a definiteness of purpose towards what you're doing. It's not willpower. It's a made up mind. It's a made up mind to say that whatever it takes, if I know I want to get in shape, I'm going to go to the gym daily. If I want to eat, I know I got to eat right daily. There's things I know I have to do, and I'm going to set myself up to do it. Now, don't set yourself up for impossible tasks. This is one of the things that people do, especially in relationships. They show that representative, and that representative does the impossible task to maintain for the first while that they're dating. But then once you get into the relationship, you drop off and the real you steps up. When you get involved in anything, you have to do it at a level that is true to you. This is where self-awareness comes into play. You don't make promises you can't keep. You have to be able to stand strong and keep moving forward. If whatever you do, you have to be able to do things on a daily that you know you can do. All right. So I know that I can come to work every day. I know that I can run this store and multiple stores. I know these things I can do. I know that I can go to the gym and work out every day. I know how I am in relationship with people. So why be something that you cannot be? Be self-aware to know who you are, and you can maintain each step daily. When you can't do that, then you're going to fail every time. So don't set yourself for impossible tasks. Just like money, gold doesn't respond to impossible tasks, nor can you as a person. Don't set yourself and say, I'm going to do this, and you can't do it, and you know you can't. Do what you can do, all right? Not what you create and make up that you can do. So his friends tried to tell him that he had this willpower that allowed him to continue. And he just recognized and told him it's not willpower. It's just I had a definiteness of purpose. I knew what I can do, and I can do that. I can save 10% of what I make and invest that. And then I cannot consume the children of of the investment. I can continue to grow the business, grow my income, right? So they came and they told him that. And they just kept making up different reasons of why he's set apart. And it all comes down to other people. If you let other people into your little circle, right? If they're not for you, then you need to remove them. Because once those people start saying that to Arkad, he removed those people. He let them leave. Only the ones whose eyes were open, only the ones who saw the light stayed with him, and they continued to learn. And over the years, the ones who stayed with him, they would come in and they saved their 10%, and they invested, and then they reinvested. And they recognized that every time they invest money, it's not going to make them money each time, but that it was a continued process. Because think about it. Let's just recap it. Arkad, he invested his money from a year of savings into something that didn't make money because he gave it to the wrong person who didn't know what he was doing. About, you gave a brick maker money to go buy jewels, and he lost the money, but then he did it again. Every successful person that you ever look at, they have always had failures. All of them. Anybody who has wealth has had failures. In relationship, anybody who's ever had a great relationship has had failures. It is not the failures that make them, but it is their ability to recover and continue with a definiteness of purpose to do the thing that it is that they have said, that they have made up in their mind that they're going to do. That is one of the biggest lessons from this whole story. And it goes throughout life no matter what it is. Whether you're trying to be faithful to your religion, whether you're trying to do something in your relationship as a couple, whether you're dealing with your children, you're trying to build wealth, no matter you're trying to lose weight, maybe any of those things. If you have a definiteness of purpose towards what you want to do, and you have realistic goals about what you can accomplish at each stage, and follow the process, and when you do make mistakes, when things don't work out the way you want them to work out, be able to step back, evaluate your process, and then keep doing it. Keep going. When that happens, then you will eventually start hitting successful points. And be grateful and show gratitude at each point. Never, when something, I talked to someone today. They had an expectation of receiving a certain amount of money. They received 1/10 of what they received. They were upset about it. But you know what? Be grateful for what you did receive. I had somebody turn in a fundraiser today. I expected them to do far greater than what they did. But I'm grateful for whatever they did do, right? And in the process of that, somebody else called me today to do another fundraiser. So, if your energy is right, then it flows back to you. I can go on and on about different other stories within the Richest Man in Babylon, the Arkad part. But that's all I'm gonna do for today. And like I said, I tried to do this on the 8-minute version, but it just wouldn't work because I just couldn't get all of it in there. And I didn't want to do a part 2, part 3, nothing like that. And then we'll continue with the whole thing, all the other stories that are within the Richest Man in Babylon. So if you like this video, let me know. Share it. Share it with other people on your Facebook page. If you're on YouTube, then like it and subscribe. Y'all have a great day. My greatness is non-negotiable, and so is yours.